What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you'll receive a notification every time that I drop a video. And you can go and check the video out and leave a comment and leave a like if you support the Go Up movement, the Stay Free People movement. Let's get into it. This story is about someone that most of you know, if not all of you, Spider Loc from East Coast. He has a channel. Go check out his channel. I'm not sure the name of his channel. I know he got a black box and he got all kind of shit going on, all kind of channels. He be on street TV, no jumper everywhere. Spider Loc Most Easty from East Coast Crib. Indeed, I was locked up with Spider in 1997 in Centinella State Prison on D-Yard. At the time, D-Yard in Centinella was a level 3. It fluctuates. It goes from a level 3 to a level 4, does certain yards there in Centinella. Again, I just paroled from Centinella April 19th, 2022, after having been up there for over 5 years. And in fact, I was in Centinella this past time with Spider's brother. He must be Big Spider. I believe he's Big Spider from East Coast. I didn't know him. I know Spider Loc. But his big brother approached me and said that my cousin had sent him to make sure that I was okay. As I've alluded to before, I have cousins from East Coast. As I said, I have a certain affinity for the East Coasters. This has always been clear and obvious to anyone for different reasons. I just like their get down. Even though we're opposition, that's just how I feel. And again, my cousins are hitters from East Coast. Spider knows them. And so Big Spider approached me. I got into a situation there in Centinella with the police and they maced me up. I'll bring you that situation soon, I suppose. And they wanted to check on me and make sure that I was okay, my cousins and them. So they sent Spider, Big Spider, to make sure I was all right, but I was okay. And so, ironically, I was in Centinella with both brothers, one in 1997 and one some 25 years ago, his big brother in 2021 and 2022. 2020 or whatever, etc. But there in 1997 in Centinella on D-Yard, it was a level 3. And Spider was there and I was there with him, as was the G-homie, the OG homie T-Bird from 9 Deuce. The homie Lil Frog was there, Snoop was there from A-Tray, and a couple of other characters. And Spider and I were going to the visionary. Spider had a cute little thing coming to see him. Had a nice little round bumper. I said, damn, she 9. I didn't gaze too much or whatever. I'm respectful. But she was nice. And she was dropping it off to Spider. So Spider was making his money on the yard, as was I. Spider can tell y'all about all of this. And Spider was someone on the yard. We were all young then. I was 23 years old. I had to be 1997. And Spider had to be about the same age or what have you. And Spider was a strong dude. He was representing East Coast rather strongly. There are some dudes on the yard where you just don't know where they're from. Sometimes it's happened to me where I see him with a certain faction months later. I'll be like, damn, I ain't know he was from such and such. Like, yeah, bro, he from. Sometimes just because they quiet dudes and they just ain't out there like that. Sometimes it's because they trying to be low key and don't want to be involved in certain stuff or what have you. And then you have certain people on the yard where you just like, dude from such and such. You just know he representing his turf. Not that he's extra out or going overboard, but he representing. Spider was young in his early 20s. He from East Coast Crip. He's representing that. Spider, in fact, had gotten to quite a few scuffles there in Centinella State Prison. Indeed, everyone on the yard respected Spider, respected him, including myself. We knew where he was from. He had made that clear. Young and had had a little size on him. And for the most part, he minded his own business and didn't bother anyone, was just making his money, but he represented his hood. He was gangbanging. And he had gotten into a few altercations. In fact, the Crips, the East Coasters, was about to go up with the Bloods, the Damus, over a package. And Spider was heavily involved in that. And really the conflict ended up being averted because someone had got gaffled up for the package, and it's a long, convoluted story. But Spider was in the midst of everything that was happening there on the yard, D-Yard, Centinella, in 1997. And Peanut from 6 Deuce East Coast was also in the yard, as was G. Fred from Harlem. I don't recall which G. Fred he was. Dark, slim, with size. Different kind of size than what Spider had. Spider was more bulky. This dude here was more sized up and cut up, Looked a bit menacing. And, well, him and Peanut, G. Fred, had words. I don't know what the words were over. I don't know what the words were about. Sometimes when something's about to happen on the yard, as I've said before, we all know it and we all know why. Oh man, he owes a debt, or he disrespected the Bloods, or he disrespected the Crips, whatever, they about to remove him. We know. There's a lot of gossip that goes on in there, and it's not necessarily gossip when we know. It's just people passing along the information in case we run across this cat later on. And so it's really wise, and it behooves everyone to disseminate this sort of information amongst one another. So oftentimes we know when something's about to go down and why. But sometimes we don't. I don't recall, or I just don't know, period, what the words were that were exchanged between G. Fred from Harlem and Peanut from 6 Deuce East Coast. I don't know what the conflict was about, but they had a conflict. And G. Fred, again, from Harlem, well, he's not a small dude. He's a big dude, in fact. In fact, he was lifting, him and Pooh from West Coast neighborhood was lifting the most weight on the yard. That's how strong this dude was. I'm not sure what kind of chance Peanut would have against him. G. Fred at the time was carrying himself like he was someone that was worth respecting, like Spider. But who can you trust? Only time reveals. And as they exchanged those heated, hostile words, apparently the words became heated and hostile, in a conflict between Peanut and G. Fred had developed. Spider felt like G. Fred had disrespected his comrade, his brethren, someone from his section, his faction, someone from East Coast, his homeboy that he breaks bread with every day. Not that Peanut could not stand up for himself or defend himself, but Spider, being the person that he was and is, no one was surprised that he was going to be the one to confront the feared G. Fred there on the yard. Word that pretty much disseminated. And then Spider's going to get involved and confront this dude about the dispute that he had with his comrade, Peanut. And who knows where to go from there. We're all waiting in anticipation, knowing that the day is coming for the confrontation. Didn't take long. A few days later, they called work release. That's when they call you out in the morning, and then again, you come back for lunch, and they pop you out again before lunch, before yard, or after lunch before yard. Send you back behind the wall, vocation, as I told you about before, in whatever industry you're working in behind the wall. And they called work release, and Spider had came out to the yard. And so did G. Fred and others. And people were watching and just wondering, well, what's to take place? How severe was the conflict between G. Fred and Peanut? How far will it go between G. Fred and Spider? Knowing that Spider clearly has a propensity to cut the conversation short and begin physical activities. He came out to the yard and was near the basketball court. And Spider rapidly headed towards G. Fred's way. A lot of the yard is watching in anticipation. Again, knowing this may not end well. But again, G. Fred's a big dude. Some people, I'm sure, are thinking and speculating if it doesn't end well, it will be for Spider that it doesn't end well for, though he has size. Again, a different kind of size and a different kind of strength than what G. Fred has. But as we all know, it's the size of the fight that's in the dog. It's never the size of the dog. And as Spider made his way over there, some words were exchanged. I don't know what was said. I wasn't privy to that information, wasn't close enough. But some words were indeed exchanged. And Spider clearly took umbrage to whatever G. Fred said. I'm sure Spider can fill in the blanks about what the confrontation was and what G. Fred said that set him off. Because he indeed was set off and released a combination on G. Fred. Quickly, bam, bam, bam. Hit him with like a 3 or 4 piece. It was more than a 2. And we all looking, whoa, what the hell? And we just know G. Fred, well, he's about to probably take Spider's head off. Spider did some damage with his punches. Apparently G. Fred was unexpecting this, or was not expecting this. Don't know why. If you're arguing with someone and running your mouth, you better be ready for a fade. Go on the offensive. It's just easier. People like that proved it because he was wobbly, because he was now on the defensive and had to defend himself instead of being on the offensive. And Spider was the one on the offensive, which, as I've alluded to many times before, brothers, gives you the upper hand. Spider is a walking example because he went on the offensive and fired G. Fred shit up right there near the basketball court in front of everyone. Boom, boom, bing, bing. 3 or 4 piece. Wobbled him. And G. Fred, I'm sorry. It is what it is. He didn't squabble back. He did not fight back. I'm just telling you what happened, bro. I'm not here to disparage anyone. But I can't sugarcoat that. Ain't no need for me to tell a story if I'm not going to tell what happened. I'm just telling you what happened. G. Fred, shout out to him. Wherever he's at. But in that situation, Spider was incensed and outraged that G. Fred did and said whatever he had did to his young homie Peanut. And then, to add insult to injury, G. Fred clearly said something to Spider that was unbecoming, and that Spider had clearly taken offense to and was done talking and fired him up. And G. Fred, yes, he was wobbly, but even when he regained his balance, when he regained his equilibrium, he still did not respond. He did not fight back. That's the fact of the situation. Spider did what he did, and he was still there on the yard. We all respected Spider, and we respected him even more after that situation because he really took on someone else's beef. Some may say he had nothing to do with it. He could have just minded his own business. That's not how it works. This is your car, your faction, your homeboy. You better support him and stand up and take up for him if necessary, and be willing to die with him and for him when you're in that line of the game. Spider showed himself to be that sort of example, willing to stand up for his brethren at all costs. He approached the dude and fired him up, and that's what happened. With Spider Loc most easty from East Coast Crib. I'm going to bring you more stories about Spider Loc. Again, I didn't read this in the book. I didn't see it on YouTube. I was with him on the yard. I lived this shit that I be talking. I got people from everywhere. I know people. I got people from everywhere. Did y'all know? You even know that I knew Spider? That I was on the yard with him in 1997? Yes. And he was a strong dude. He was in there beasting, bro. It's true. I saw it with my own eyes. He was a strong dude that we all respected. Dude disrespected his homeboy and he went up, and that's just that. Shout out to Spider Most Easty Loc. Spider Loc Most Easty from East Coast Chris. Shout out to you, bro. Strong dude. Period. And I'll be back. I got something else too. I'm gonna finish up that story in the war with the blacks and the Southsiders in Wayside. I'm gonna finish that up. The finale is coming up. Spoiler alert. It got ugly. In the meantime, stay free, people.